All right, this is chapter 6. It covers encryption and password cracking. It's pretty much computer security in one lecture, is what it is. Most or some of you have had computer security already, I think. Some of you? Okay. All right, we're going to talk about a bunch of stuff, okay? Encryption and password cracking. Good passwords are obviously a very important part, okay? It still boggles my mind how our ATM machines are a 4-digit number. That's it. You ever notice that? One of my credit card companies only accepts lowercase numbers and letters. No special characters. Then you get the opposite extreme where the NSF's website where I put in the grant data, it's got to have 2 uppercase, 2 lowercase, 2 numbers, 2 special characters between 12 and 14 in length only. And it's like, that's very hard to come up with a password that meets that criteria. If you've never used it, there's a tool called LastPass. It's amazing. If you've never used it, you need to get it. LastPass.com. It's free. And it is what I use for everything. I actually had to log into TRICARE the other day, not using LastPass. So I looked up my password in LastPass, and it was like this, because it generates them for you, and you never have to see them. It was this crazy jumbling of crap, and it sucked to have to type it in, because I normally just click on it and do it, but I was on my phone, so it didn't work so well. But all right, there's also ways of password guessing, stealing, cracking. We're going to cover a whole bunch of stuff about that, okay? Cryptography, it says algorithms encrypt into plain text, and the plain text is decrypted, or the ciphertext is decrypted back into plain text. I said that right. You encrypt plain text into ciphertext, and the ciphertext is decrypted back to plain text, okay? There's also transposition, moving the order of stuff around, but it's, very basic stuff there. There's really no link, it's just moving stuff around, okay? So anyone can make transposition based on the frequency. There's something called frequency analysis, which covered in another class. It's not really covered in here. Does anyone know what the most popular letter in English is?
E.
E, okay. It's like, what was that? Wheel of Fortune, NLSTR&E, you all remember that?
RSTLNE.
Yeah. Remember when Wheel of Fortune, they didn't give you those letters initially? Now they give you all those letters to start with. I think make it easier. But frequency analysis, certain letters I used more. Does anyone remember what time period that came from? Like E is the most popular letter? It's like a 1970s newspaper article. You have to get something from that time period to actually get that exact frequency distribution. Because nowadays, LOL, BRB kind of screws it all up. So, all right, substitutions is replace one with another, or one with a group of letters. That's just substitution. The Enigma machine, I should have put a picture in there. U571, anyone seen that movie? Very good movie. I actually saw one of the Enigma machines when I was up in DC. Looked like kind of a typewriter in a box. That's what it looked like. And it was virtually unbreakable. That's why we had to go steal one. So U571's about. Okay. This is the most famous substitution cryptography machine used by Germans. Okay. All right. The Turing bomb, it says the machine to crack it. Both developed by Alan Turing. He's actually he does a lot with computers, and, computer theory and all that kind of stuff. Okay. There's also Colossus. There's a program a computer to do all this. There's a lot of different ways to do it. Okay. Clear text, that's stuff we can read. We have ciphertext, that's after we encrypt it. We have a key, that's the encryption key. It could be varying length. Okay. The algorithm, maybe it's RSA, DES, or whatever. And then some sort of hash, and we're going to cover more about that here in just a minute. Okay. Symmetric, same key. Asymmetric, different key. These are just different ways of encrypting. It's covered a whole bunch in another class. Okay. It says encryption can be performed with either symmetric or asymmetric. Which one's faster?
Faster.
Symmetric is faster, yes. Okay. Hey, symmetric, also often called sacred key. Okay. Oh, someone got the book? Turn to page 124. Okay. It says use the same key to encrypt and decrypt. It says the sender and receiver must have a copy of the key. Okay. And they're faster. What's on the top of 124? I can't remember. 124. Oh, they talk about the different algorithms and the speed. It's kind of funny. I was actually setting up a VPN for a client of mine, and I had a choice of triple DES or AES. What would you pick?
AES.
I could never really definitively know that. I mean, it makes sense. So what I did is I actually set theirs up with triple DES, copied a bunch of stuff across, and set it up with AES, and there was an actual difference. But that talks about the different speeds of it up there. Okay. Oh, and there's the chart. Wait, there was something else on the top of that page. Hold on a second. What was it? No, that's not. I wonder if it was off the other version, because it was something else. Honestly, I can't remember what it was. No, there was something else on there, but yeah, the chart right here showing you which one's good. I mean, okay, DES. Yes, your question?
I was just going to say, if you ever set up TrueCrypt volume, it actually goes through and
tries all the different ones?
Yeah, it benchmarks them all for you.
That
So-
would have been handy.
Yeah, and it shows you which way to stack them and which way stacking them
Wow.
gives you the best results.
Well, that'd be cool. That'd be really cool. Now, DES, still good? What do you think?
No.
Well, it's been broken, but you know, if I want to encrypt something that's going to be good for the next hour, go for it. I mean, it's going to work. It's still, you know, I mean, if I want to encrypt something that's going to be good for the next 5 seconds with no paper or no computers, help with Caesar cipher is probably good enough, you know. So it really depends, but you know, some are faster than others. Okay, we're going to talk pretty much about most of them here. Okay, stream ciphers use a key stream to encrypt and decrypt a plaintext message, or encrypting it one key after another. They usually use a one-time pad. That's something that is only used one time. Could be random characters, stuff like that. It says, numbers of one-time pad are added to the letters, then they're XORed together. Like, 2 bananas even?
Yeah,
I'm
carb loading it.
I got like a half Greenland still in the office. You should have traded.
Yeah, you
Mine's not ready.
You're letting it ripen.
All I had was green ones the other day. It's like, darn it. Okay, but XORing, we cover this in great depth in the other class. We don't get that in depth in this class on it. Block ciphers, they encrypt a block a day at a time. Does anyone give an example of a block cipher? Anybody know one? DES? Anyone know how big the block is in DES? 64-bit block, 56-bit key. Yeah, that was one question on the CSSP exam. How big was the key? That's all you want to know. I knew all about it. That's the only question there was. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Okay, work on blocks of data. So it breaks it into blocks. Then they do each block independently. Okay. What sucks here, if you screw up one of the blocks, what happens? Everything in that block is messed up, but it won't propagate to other blocks. Hopefully, unless using CBC or something. But okay, plain text is always padded, so we got a 64-bit block and 20 bits of text. Obviously, you got to make it up to 64-bit for it to work. Okay, then they allow you to reuse keys over and over and over. Okay, we got asymmetric algorithms. This is 2 keys, one for encrypting, one for decrypting, also known as public keys, or there's a public-private key. PGP is the most common. Most of you have seen or heard of that. If you haven't, you should learn about it in Security Commerce. Okay. Hopefully you set up a PGP key in there. All right, but use 2 keys, one public, one private. Okay. The problem back here with symmetric again, the big issue is they use the same key. So if I want to get something to Daniel, I want to communicate with him, I got to get the key across. Because we use the same key. So key transport's an issue. Asymmetric, not so much. Because one key for encryption, one key for decryption. One's public, one's private. You can go on keyserver.pgp.com, search for my name, and download my public key today. If you encrypt something with it, I'm the only one that can decrypt. It's keyserver.pgp.com. Okay? But the public key encrypts it, then only the private key can decrypt it. Okay? Then so what if I encrypt something with my private key and send it out? Who can decrypt it? So I encrypt something with my private key.
Nobody. People with your public key.
So basically anybody could. Yeah. If I send it out, all of you can decrypt it because you can get my private key. So what the heck good would that be?
That proves your identity.
Exactly. Proves who I am because I'm the only one that could have made that. Yeah, anybody could open it. But you're going to know positively that Ken Dewey created it. So again, we cover this in a whole bunch more in another class. Okay? All right, there's RSA, Diffie-Hellman. There's a book out there called Crypto from Stephen Levy. You really need to read that. Okay? And y'all did get the email about April 12th? Y'all have to be there?
Where's the Tom Steed?
Tom Steed is right on the corner of I-40 and Huderberg Drive. The very first building.
The center?
Tom Steed Center, yes. I mean, if you exit Huderberg Drive, first building right there, it's 200 seats. Now, at 2 o'clock, there's a special private 30-minute get to meet him with just our cybersecurity students from 2 to 2:30. Then at 3 o'clock, he starts his talk. It's the art of deception. Are you, whatever, can you be conned or something? Okay. So you don't have to be there for the 2 o'clock thing, but if you want to have a little bit of more private time to get to know him or say hi or something, that's your best bet. Then at 3 o'clock, he'll start talking with everybody. It is going to be first come, first serve. I expect it to fill up. So I've invited OSU. I've invited OKCCC. So I expect more people there. But the 2 o'clock thing is in the same room. So I'm thinking, come to 2 o'clock thing, you've got a seat. And when the 3 o'clock thing starts, you already got your seat. So we're safe. But definitely need to be there. But the book called Crypto from Stephen Levy is really good. Talking about all these different algorithms. Goes way in depth on how they created them and where they came from. I think you read it, didn't you, Chris?
It was really good.
Really good book. It's, you know, some people take computer security and like it, and some are like, man, this stuff is so boring. But when you read in that book, it's like, you understand why they did it and the problems they had and the trials. And you know, I love the part about Phil Zimmerman and PGP. He came out with version 1, and they basically said, you will not distribute version 2. He accidentally put it up on a foreign server or something. It was gone. They said, crap, it's out now. Really couldn't prevent him because it was out. So really interesting book. You can get it on Amazon for $4. No, $5, including shipping. I think the Kindle version is like $30 though. Sucks. But there's a bunch of them out there. We're going to talk about more of these. But the digital signature, it says, connects documents with the holder of a specific key. Taxes. You know, I filed my taxes this year. I submitted 0 documents to anybody, and I've already gotten my money. So how do they know it's me? Well, part of it's digital signatures and stuff like that, okay? Digital timestamps, that's another big issue. How do you know when stuff was done? That's a very valid point. You know, when was it signed? When was it produced? And so on and so forth, okay? Cryptanalysis says cryptanalysis decodes messages to make them readable. So we're taking something, we're making it readable again, okay? All right, the most important thing is detecting the key value. If you can get the key value, that helps. And we cover a whole bunch of this in other classes as well. Go into Kaczynski method, a bunch of other ways of determining key length. Okay? Popular ciphers says the average user tends to confuse the categories within them. Now we're going to talk about them. DES. Okay? Data encryption standard. I can never. Anyone know what the original name of DES? I didn't know this. I read the book. It was Lucifer, but before that, it was DEMON. Demon.
Demonstration.
It was for demonstration. They called it demonstration, but they were limited to 8 characters, so they DEMON, demon, so that was renamed to Lucifer. So it really has nothing to do with the devil. So it was you know, kind of cool. Mid-70s, they approved it. 56-bit key. There's a lot of I don't know. You got to read about that one because there's a lot of people say the government forced them to weaken it so that you know we could make sure we could break it, that kind of stuff. But it's same algorithm, 16 rounds, but it's kind of cool. All right. Security says depends upon a chosen key. If you have a bad key, just like a bad password. If your password is password 1, the odds of you getting broken into are pretty darn good. Okay. It is susceptible to brute force. Well, if you think about it, I would say that anything is susceptible to brute force. If I had enough time, and machines, and cycles, we could get any password. Just might take a while. Except for the guy in forensics. You know the Lab 6 y'all did? I gave one of the students a misspelt name.
Oh.
And because he got that part wrong on the test. Then he submitted his lab, and he goes, I couldn't do it. I've tried everything. I could not break it. I'm like, what do you mean? I like, oh, you got to be kidding me. I misspelt what I gave him. So based on the name I gave him, we never would have gotten it. Never. So I'm like, oh, dude, I feel so bad. So
There's a password manager being developed by German researchers where you provide your what is it, your ultimate password,
Right.
your password that you encrypt everything else with. And it only encrypts each piece of code, or so your PIN number, your account number, your other things like that. So every time you feed it a password,
Right.
it spits something out. You never know if it's right or not.
Wow.
So you can brute force all day long.
But you want to know if it's right. It's not like John the Ripper where we're going to compare the hashes and we're in.
Well, you could probably have some sort of a key, some
Yeah.
sort of a passphrase that
Wow.
once it gets it right, says yes, you got the something like that. But it encrypts each piece of data instead of everything as a whole. So it's
Right.
not no, yes. It's always a yes.
Huh. Wow, that would be weird. That's something I haven't even heard about that.
So
Well, huh. That'd be interesting. What, you know the name of it by chance?
that's German developers. I don't.
Okay. Well, I can look it up.
I'll find it.
That's a, there's so much stuff going on in this area. It's just, hear the news. The 17-year-old kid wrote an app for the iPhone that summarizes the articles, sold it for millions.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? 17-year-old kid.
Well, it streamlines. It's just like a.
Yeah, it's an awesome idea. It reads a bunch of articles and gives you an abstract basically of them. Awesome idea. It's, 40 million, 30 million?
30 million.
30 million?
He started when he was 15, I think.
Yeah, it took him 2 years. Ooh, 2 years to make $30 million. That must suck. All right, triple DES is not DES 3 times. It can work different ways, but it's basically encrypt with one key, decrypt with a different key, and re-encrypt with the first key again. So it varies, but it's still used today. Actually used quite a bit. So works good. Speed of triple DES almost 3 times slower than DES. Let's see, we're encrypting 3 times. Maybe that's why it's 3 times slower. Okay? But for security, it's good. Okay, this is the equivalent of using a single 112-bit key. So it's good. Okay, AES Advanced Encryption, the original cipher was actually made from a competition. They wanted basically an open source algorithm that was based on math, not secrecy. The problem with DES was originally based on secrecy. They still don't know why they do some of the things in DES. With AES, totally open source. They proved that even if someone knows how it works, it's still secure. Okay, it's really good. It's what year was it made? I don't even remember now. 2001. Okay. Variable block size, variable rounds, variable everything pretty much. Okay, and it works great based on the original cipher. Okay, speed faster than DES, slower than Blowfish. Jack Bauer, 24. Y'all ever watch that? 24. You have to watch certain.
That was great.
I still remember one of the episodes. They're trying to break into a door. Oh, it's encrypted with Blowfish. Wait a minute, I know the hidden back door. I mean, yeah, whatever. It's pretty funny. Okay. But it's very good. It says all successful attacks upon DES have been through side channel attacks. In other words, hardware or whatever. It's like RSA. RSA has never been broken. But if they did prove it could be broken when there's a hardware flaw. Well, that, it's not the problem with the algorithm, it's the problem with the hardware. Okay? So side channel attacks are based on factors other than the algorithm. Now, if Danny gives me the password to my AES encrypted system, is that a problem with the algorithm? No, it's a problem with Danny. So, sorry, Danny. Now they all know. All right, idea. It says algorithm developed in Switzerland, 128-bit key, 64-bit block. So the block size is the same as DES, but a much larger key. Faster than it says faster than triple DES, slower than DES. Just it is still used, but not as much. I was trying to think of something. I saw it on something that was still using it. Maybe it was a VPN. Someone that used it. I can't remember, but it is still being used somewhere. Skipjack, NSA. It was used along with the Clipper chip. The whole main gist behind this, they wanted a way to get access to encrypted cell phone communications. So they come up with this plan, and the plan was your carrier had one half of the key, and the court had the other half of the key. And if they ever needed to, they could get a court order to get both half of the keys and then be able to decrypt your communications. That was the plan behind it. That way, when people had all these encrypted phones, now it could hear what they're saying. The problem with that was, if you had recorded conversations, this would still then, so in other words, you get a court order says you can see the database, starting at 6 p.m. today. But with a Clipper chip, if you had recordings from the last 6 months, you could then go back and decrypt the previous conversation. So it didn't last very long. Okay. RC4, speed. It's just very fast. I don't think it's being used very much right now, but it is moderate security. So it seems like most things are just going to AES now because it is better. Okay? Quantum cryptography is based on photons. It's on the polarization of light. Way beyond me. That's like the next building over, or the building on the corner over there. Okay. Okay. It's used for key exchange. Couldn't think of that word. Like I said, with Symmetric, me and Daniel are using the same key. Well, how do I get him the key? That's the problem. So quantum cryptography can be used to get him the key. They used something originally called Aunt Martha's coffin, where they were able to transmit a key using photons for 12 inches, and now they can go for very much longer differences. And the cool thing about this, you can tell when someone's eavesdropping. The way the algorithm is built, you can tell when someone's listening in. So it's basically immune to it because you can tell when they're doing it. Okay. Has special defense against eavesdropping. Okay, blowfish. What?
How expensive is it?
Actually, the prices have gone down very much. But again, it's only a key exchange. It's not for encrypting our data. It's only to get you the key. But the expensive based on the amount of data is extremely expensive because we're having to send data many times over to get it to you. So, but I don't know. It's being used a lot more, and there's a lot going on in this area. And I got a video somewhere. I showed in the computer. Well, I have a link for it in the computer security lecture. This guy, it was like he made a video for a 12-year-old about how this works, and it was really kind of cool. It was one of those kind of like quantum cryptography for dummies videos. It was really good. If you're in computer security, I got that video in there now. Okay. We got Blowfish, Enigma, Veneer. There's a bunch of other ones out there. Like we covered Veneer a whole bunch in another class. We're not going to go in depth here. RSA, very, very, very popular. Vivek Shamir and Alderman. They came out in 77 and still used today. Not been broken. So when you see it on the test in computer security, it has not been broken. Okay? Unless there's like a hardware issue. Okay? It's based on factoring large numbers. You all know what factoring is? You know what exponential values are, stuff like that? What if you had a 200-digit number? That's pretty darn hard to factor. That's what this is based on. It's like 2 to the 200th power. That's how big these numbers are. So they're excessively large. So that's what this is based on. Okay. Diffie-Hellman, another key exchange protocol. It says allows two parties who do not have prior knowledge to establish a shared secret key. Okay. It's actually quite simple to do. It's actually one of the easiest ones to do, but it's a way for me to know something and Chris to know something. And neither one of us share that something with each other, yet we can come upon a shared key that will work for both of us. So kind of a cool protocol. Okay, the digital signature mentioned that a little bit already, but ways of authenticating electronic documents. That's where everything's going. We have a curriculum committee here on campus that handles all the curriculum for campus. We have the divisions that meet. And then they go to college curriculum, and Ed Wolf is in charge, and he's like, I need you on the committee. I'm like, why? Well, they do it all by hand. I mean, it's still paper. I mean, they obviously they're typed papers, but everything is still done by paper. He's like, there's got to be an easier way to do it. We need to automate this process or make it something. That's why he wants me on the committee. But we could use digital signatures to verify who they are, very simply. Okay. All right, elliptic curve. Okay, I modified the slide a little bit. I was actually reading about it. It's based on the elliptic curve. What they're talking about is 2 points on the curve, and you come up with, watch this video, learn a whole bunch more about it. But it's basically, it's a way of doing stuff that is quicker. It works on sets of, I think, 8-bit numbers. Should say in there somewhere. It says solve a factor of, it's not on there. Okay, but basically, instead of working with these super huge numbers, you're working with adding just 8-bit numbers together. And it's a lot better, a lot quicker. Okay, shorter keys are stored, and it says the elliptic curve key of 164 bits is equivalent to a 1024-bit key in another system. So it uses shorter keys. Shorter key means faster encryption. And I put a link to a video on there. You can go watch it if you like. We're not going to watch it today. Nutru Neo for Java. Oh, this is the one that works on the 8-bit number. Sorry about that. But matrix of 251 8-bit numbers. It's equivalent to RSA 1024. Open source, so you can actually incorporate it into any device you come up with. And it shows the speeds here. Nutru for Java compared with RSA. Nutru is 306 times faster than RSA. Okay. On encryption, it's 3.3 times faster. On decryption, it's 72 times faster. And when we're talking about mobile devices that are run on Java, this is a perfect way to go. So a lot of things is happening in this area. Okay. Lattice space, it works on NP-complete problems. We learned that, and it's not important for this class, but it is covered in another class. It's problems that can be complete as long as you can guess the answer and basically can be proven. Okay. They're not really effective because they're too slow. You know how it is nowadays, if it's too slow, no one's going to want it. Yeah, I was using the internet on the cruise ship this last week. Oh my God. Whew. Especially when you're paying by the minute. Okay. Killing me. Just killing me. Okay, hash function. I come up with this slide today. I think it pretty much explains what a hash function is. I have three numbers. The result of the three numbers are 294. What are those numbers?
1 to 191.
How long would it take you to figure that out? Very long. Okay? Well, could it, obviously the numbers I had in mind were 97, 98, and 99. Or wait a minute, maybe I had 96, 99, 99. Or maybe 2, 2, and 290, or 100, 194. In other words, the possibilities are endless. A hash function is, you can't work it backwards. You can't go from 294 to these numbers unless you know something. Another example would be your windshield on your car. Smash your windshield on your car. Go ahead and put it back together. You ever smash a windshield on a car? Those little teeny tiny, it's not going to happen. That's what a hash function is. You cannot work them backwards. Okay? So, cryptographic hash functions, they're one way. Okay? They're also known as digital fingerprints. Every file has a hash value. There's no two that should have the same value. Okay? Unless they're the same exact file. Okay? Easy to create the hash from input data, but very hard to figure it out. In other words, you cannot go backwards with it. MD5 is the most common. MD5 does have a weakness in it. There is what's called a collision. A collision is when you have two things that produce the same value, which is not good. Well, they proved you take a specific size document and change one specific value, it'll come up with the same hash. Well, that's the only flaw they can find. It's kind of like, y'all remember the old Pentium 66 with the floating point error? Did any of you have a computer back then? I had one. They came out with them. They sold them right around Christmas time. And right after that, they said there's a flaw in them. And they gave everybody a new processor. The reason they did that is because AMD was coming out with one. They wanted to get these on the market first. But the error was, in floating point math, we're touching a number with lots of decimals. It's like if you're working something out to the 400th digit, there was some astronomically small chance that your math could be off. 400th digit? Come on. I mean, I'm not there. But the moment people found out that that was a problem, oh my God, I need a new one. And they did. They gave everybody a brand new processor. Okay? But, you know, MD5, yeah, it's got a collision. But the collision's so small. So, but, you know, it'll be replaced. There are other ones out there. But it does. It works really good. That's the most common one out there. SHA-1, SHA is pretty much the other. It's like MD5 and SHA-1 are the. Is it a SHA-1 or SHA-2?
SHA-1.
Yeah, I think SHA-1's the standard. Those two are pretty much neck and neck. MD5 seems to be just a little faster. If you're ever downloading security tools, Nessus and all those off the web, they normally give you an MD5. Like whenever I download FTK and all those, when I go to download, they give me the MD5 hash. Then what I do is I download the file, then I check the MD5 hash. I use MD5 Summer. There's a whole pile of tools out there that'll do it. You run that tool against it, and you should get the same value. If the hash matches, obviously it's the same file. Okay, But SHA is another way of doing it. It's considered superior, yet they're kind of like neck and neck right now. Okay? All right. Password attacks. Many types of attacks out there. From dictionary to sheer guessing. Okay? Dictionary attacks. I'm going to use the dictionary and go through it. Now with the speed of computers, yeah, it sucks to use a dictionary word. I think OSU's system, you cannot have a dictionary word in your password or any portion of a dictionary word in your password. Which is good, but it makes it very hard to come up with a password sometimes. Okay. All right, it says, can determine the key necessary to decrypt it. Based on a dictionary word, it's not going to take long. I don't care how big your dictionary is, it could still do it in no time at all. Usually it does not work against complex passwords because we're talking just dictionary attacks. Your dictionary is not going to have a complex password in it. Okay. Defense, limit the number of guesses. So, I got Daniel over here who's got access to Tinker Air Force Base computer system. Okay. So if he has a dictionary word, which he doesn't, but let's just say he did. So I'm going to use a dictionary attack to try to break into Daniel's system. Okay? Well, all we got to do is limit the number of times Daniel can log in before it screws up. They probably limit it at 3, don't they? Like here at Rose State, I can log in twice and screw it up. If I log in the 3rd time and screw it up, it locks me out for 15 minutes. Is that what they do there, or do they auto? Or is it?
If you're talking about the common access
Yeah.
cards,
Actually, those are a little different.
3 times you have to go get the card reset at the office.
Oh, nice. See here at Rose State, if I screw it up the 3rd time, wait 15 minutes, it automatically resets. But that one's a little tough.
For the cards, you use the cards to log in, but you don't log in with your username and password.
That's right. It's just a pin or something, isn't it now?
Yeah.
Okay. But limit the number of guests before they're locked out. Limit how long they're locked out for. So the default is 3. So, okay. Hybrid says guess passwords by creating new words, maybe combining words together. Okay. Adding numbers or letters. Password 1. Okay. The Syrian president. I forget. This was last year. His email was hacked. His password was 12345. Well, that's the Syrian president. Who knows what Obama is? He probably added 6. I don't know. Yeah. Could be duplicate words. Okay. Could be substituting symbols or numbers or letters. Like y'all know what a space is, like spacebar space. But you all know that Alt 255 knows the ASCII value 255 is also a space. If you look at it, it looks like a space, but it's not a space. So if you were to hold down the alternate key and hit 255 on the keypad over here, that would add 1 space to something. Yet it's not a space. So I could actually write my password out and you would never be able to type it because you think it's a space, but it's not a space, even though it looks like a space. We had a guy who remapped his keyboard to, I think it was Dvorak. He had his password stuck on his monitor. And what he had done is he remapped his system. I think Dvorak is literally A, B, C. It was in order or something. But you couldn't do it because his keys didn't match what they were in the system. And one day, I was in charge of the software engineering flight there for a while at Tinker. And one day I came back from a meeting and they're all looking around the corner at me and everybody in the office was staring. They're all like peeking around the corner to see what I was doing. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Well, when I left, they swapped my keyboard keys. They popped all the keys off and just rearranged them all. I don't look at the keys. So I was just typing away and they're like, damn it. Because I thought, but this guy had remapped his keyboard, so I don't have a clue how he did it, but it was, so there's different things you can do. Okay. All right. Okay, hybridization. We can append characters, reverse words, duplicate. John the Ripper, some of you know what that is. Reversing, reflect, all kinds of different stuff you can do. Here's examples of what they look like. Just lots of different things you can do. And there's tools to break these exact things. And you'll learn about them in another class. Okay, guidelines says avoid using the same password on everything. Tell you what, for the longest time I did. I used the same password on everything. I don't anymore. You know why? Because you can't. Some things require lowercase and numbers. Some things require 12 digits. Some require that. So I give up. There's no way anymore. That's why that LastPass tool is amazing because it takes care. It says generate password. It says what do you want in it? You click the boxes you want. Say go, and it generates this funky thing that you never have to remember. It's pretty handy. So avoid using the same password. It says avoid using one's own name and a password as low as your child, your spouse, your friend. The blonde chick with the little dog, Hilton, Paris Hilton. Her dog was stolen, and she posted a picture of her dog and her, and a phone number. Said, hey, Find my dog, call this number. Well, it's her T-Mobile number. Someone went into her T-Mobile account and knew who it was. Her password was Tinkerbell. It was her dog's name. So, I mean, they hacked into her system basically because it was the dog's name was her password. Not a good plan. She said her name was Wendy. Yeah, not too many people look like her, so. Okay, don't use common words. Include random stuff. The problem when you start doing all this random stuff, it is hard to remember. So TRICARE, I had no clue what my password was, and it was bizarre. That's why they're making these tools to help, so you don't have to know your password. So I recommend getting that program if you don't have one. It is really handy. Don't write them down, but sometimes you need to. Okay? So many people out there are really slow with computers, and they write stuff down. Happens all the time. Brute force. Try every possible combination. Okay? I try a 1, then a 2, then a 3, 4, all the way through. Then a 1 and a 1, and a 1 and a 2. And I basically try every combination. Very time consuming, but sooner or later you will get it. If you try every combination, you will get in there. A lot of RAM, faster processors. You can try this a lot quicker. Okay? Says most effective when extracting a document or when you have a password file to go against. All right. Observation, snooping, eavesdropping, shoulder surfing is an easier way to do it. Just watch what people are doing. I was in Jamaica, and I didn't want to do anything on the island, but I wanted to use internet because the boat internet was expensive. So, you know, you walk off the boat and there's these little internet places that I think they were charging $5 for 30 minutes, and it was inside of a little liquor store. So you literally had to stand there in a liquor store if you want to use the internet. But I found out years ago, what you do is you just watch the crew. So when you see the crew members getting off the boat, they knew where the internet is. So me and my son were following the crew members. They went out this side gate, went down through this other area, and sure enough, there was a bar there, all-day internet, high speed for $3. Sweet. So we sat there in a while. But the way they did it was they would enter the password for you. So my son's like, okay, you watch the first characters, I'll watch the last characters. She takes my iPad, goes over in the corner, and probably couldn't read it. But it's okay. Except we were going to use it on his phone as well. That didn't go so well. We just shared it. But shoulder surfing, you know, a lot of people just do stuff out in the open. You know, even in my office, there's so many times when y'all are in there, it's like, I guess I could say, get the hell out so I can log in, but you know, that'd be tough. I think my biggest issue with that, some of you have probably had this issue before. You know, like in my office, I'm so used to when I Control-Delete, it's got my username in there, I just put in a password. But when I log in at this computer, my username's not in there. So I start typing my password in my username field. Then if I got the projector on, guess what y'all see? Y'all see my password on the screen. So it happened today, but luckily the screen wasn't on yet. So, but there's issues. Okay. It says, can literally watch the victim type in their username and password. People have been known to get binoculars and watch someone put a code into an ATM machine. I mean, the whole 4 digits is not that hard to do. Okay, keyloggers. They could put a hardware-based keylogger or a software-based keylogger on there. One of my clients used to use a keylogger. They bought it. They had me install it on their employees because they weren't doing their job. So. Their company, they bought it. You know, I really couldn't say nothing, but normally they're not really legal, but they can be done. They can be installed. I mean, that one they had, I mean, log keystrokes. It took pictures of the screen every so many minutes. It's like, wow, it was, yeah, it's pretty bad. Okay, social engineering. Y'all know what that is already, trying to get stuff from people. Kevin Mitnick is probably the best one in history for doing this, so you really need to come to that lecture. Okay. It says, people behave naively when a so-called computer expert asks them questions. It's very true. If you act like you know what you're doing, they'll give you whatever you want. Just ask them. It really happens. Okay. There's also phishing, email phishing, and all that kind of stuff. Okay. There's a lot of crackers out there. Okay, for breaking passwords. There's also password sniffers out there for capturing passwords. Okay. They can break all kinds of different ones. Okay. All right, it says crackers can steal a copy of the files or the hashes, even on Windows. You know, there's a local computer account on this machine. So if I got a copy of the SAM file, I now have the hash of this local account. Giving me enough time, I could break it. I just Haven't. Could, I guess. Okay. They can take all the time necessary. You get the hash file? I know they don't change these but once every couple of years. And see, there's an account called hware for hardware on every computer on campus. They don't change it very often. So if I broke this one, guess what? I have all of them. So I don't know what their password is. It's probably something crazy. But I remember a couple of years ago, actually when I was in TU in 2003, I had a Rose State computer and something happened. Oh, my domain credentials couldn't work because I was a Rose State computer off the Rose State campus. So I couldn't log in. So they gave me the hware password. And it was like the number 2, then the word easy, then number 4, then a capital U, and then a 2 or something. It was like 2 easy 4 U2 or something like that. But the problem was that probably was the password at the time all over campus. I mean, they changed it after that. But you know most places do that. Most places have something local in case the domain goes down. Okay. So sometimes passwords are not stolen in the main system, but in a shadow file, or stored. It could be like a Linux system does that. They have the main system, then a shadow file. So there's lots of different ways they're stored. Okay. Key enable, you will be playing with that in this class. That will be part of this next project. Crack, John the Ripper, some of you have seen that already. Hydra, some of you have seen that. LOphtcrack was excellent. It was bought out by McAfee. I don't know who owns it now.
We actually have like a commercial copy.
Yeah, it's in version.
Yeah.
Is 5 the latest?
I'd have to ask.
Yeah, see, I have a copy of 5.
Yeah.
And that's good. That's an awesome program. You can say dictionary, or you can do brute force. You can select the type of special characters. It's really
One
cool.
special character, it actually doesn't include the tilde.
It doesn't?
Yeah, if you go like, you tell it to look for 16 character lengths with every character
Yeah.
it has in its list. Tilde's not one of them.
That's weird.
Because that's my
Now we
boss
know.
was
Always
like-
use tilde in your password.
Yeah, that's what my boss was saying. It's like, you want one that this can't even crack, throw a tilde in there.
Wow, I did not know that. But a lot of different tools. I don't know who owns it now. Okay. Kate Enable. It hasn't been updated in the last, I think, 2 years, but it's an awesome program. If you never played with it, you need to play it. It's free. Get it from oxid.it. That's oxid.it. Really good. Works on Windows only. It can do anything. I mean, access databases. Some of you took my friends in class. We had to do an access database. It breaks it instantly. Just basically reverse engineers a password is what it does. It's an awesome program. It can sniff passwords. So literally, you can put it on the network and say sniff, and it will start. It'll just recovering all the passwords. So it does all kinds of stuff. Voice over IP communications. You know the finish line project in forensics. Any of you know that? That little recording you heard, I did that with Kane. If you run it on a computer that has the voice over IP phone connected, any phone call that comes in automatically records it all into an MP3 file. So pretty, and you don't know it. I mean, it doesn't beep, but it just starts saving them to the hard drive every time it gets a phone call. So, and when you run this tool and you minimize it, it doesn't even, it puts like a blank icon on the toolbar. So normal people wouldn't even know what that was. They'd probably just let it run for days. I don't know if there's a command line interface. It'd be nice if there was, but okay. But it does all kinds of stuff. So it's kind of a cool tool. Here's what it looks like. You can tell it to dump the local system passwords even, which it will get. It reads the local system file, brings them up, and then it can break them based on certain criteria, but you all will see that. And you'll be doing a project using this. It's kind of a cool tool. Never played with it, you need to. Crack, I never played with that one. It's an old one. I didn't even know if it's still out there. But used for breaking on Unix systems. Yeah. John the Ripper, most of you know what that is. Get that from openwall.org. It's free. Awesome one. You can do all kinds of rules with that, and we do a massive project in there. Okay. Telnet crack, obviously for breaking Telnet accounts, which there's only no Telnet servers left out there, so, except for my project. So, all right. Hydra, used for breaking whatever, SMTP, Telnet, web, pretty much anything. It's for online password breaking. Really cool tool as well. Okay. There's LOphtcrack, Lc5. Let's see, Symmetric owns it. Okay. No, they discontinued support, so maybe it's not being covered anymore. I thought they took it away and then brought it back in, so I don't know. But really good tool. It's really for checking Windows passwords. They can also sniff them off the network as well. And you can load in other password files with it. You can I'm pretty sure you can even load Unix password files in here, passwds. I'm pretty sure you can load them into this. I'm not 100. I'm pretty sure I can now. Nice tool. Okay. All right, that's the end of chapter 6.